6:59, please.
Fast forward.
And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Monday, April 1st. I am Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. We're brought to you by Underdog. And we have a 6-game slate ahead of us. 4 games locking at 7, 2 more at 8. What an amazing slate. Somebody should have let DraftKings know that we had it. But anyway, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. What's good, man? How was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. I had a little Easter celebration out in Scottsdale with the fam, so was able to go play a little golf, kick it with my dad out on the course, and then had the wife and dog and everybody kicking along. We had a great time, watched some basketball. Was hoping I was going to have a reason to go back to Arizona this weekend with either Iowa State or Duke making it, but alas, they both sucked. They just played like dog shit. So apparently that was never going to happen. So it saves me the money of traveling back and forth or trying to schedule that out for Saturday and playing a golf tournament next weekend instead. So pretty good. How was yours?
Very uneventful. Did little on Sunday, which was nice. Just
Okay.
chilled, did some basketball, played some basketball, went out to lunch and everything with my in-laws on Saturday, but pretty tame weekend altogether. And I'm very happy about it. It was necessary. We got a lot going on in the next couple of weeks. So T-Pain concert on Thursday, baby. Gonna be a good time.
There's T-Pain?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. He's playing here for we have a thing called Azalea Fest, so like a big downtown like festival party type joint, and he's the rap act for this year. Should be a good time.
What's your favorite T-Pain song?
Probably I'm in Love with a Stripper remix. But you can go a lot of different directions here. I mean, this is the man that was basically just constantly having a hit that played at the bar when I was in college. Like, it was just perfect. He's the man. It's going to be so fun.
Let me buy you a drink. I was trying to figure out all of the T-Pain songs that I knew right off the bat. I'm in Love with the Stripper is the only one I knew off the bat. And I didn't even know it's just called I'm in Love with an N in the middle, which is the weirdest spelling of something that I've ever seen. I guess maybe I just never looked at the spelling when I was in high school, but like this was like senior year high school over and over and over again. So we're about the same age, so I think it was probably the same thing for you.
Yeah. I don't think that I'm going to be able to get the full remix. There's a lot of different artists on it. Not sure he's going to be able to get Kells out of the clink for one of his verses, but
it's Azalea Fest. Man. You got to do it. You got to do it. Pay that bail. Let's go.
A boy can dream. He climbs in a butt in the video, or he pantomimes that he's going to do it. It's great, man. It's great.
T-Pain. I just want to see like T-Pain. Are there going to be like kids and like, is this like a family festival or is this just like adults partying?
I mean, anybody can go. I would imagine the amount of children there will be relatively low, although he is probably a little bit more kid-friendly than when we saw Ice Cube 2 or 3 years ago. That one had a little bit more sauce on it, you could say. But it's good. There was a year that we went, I can't remember if it was Luda or Nelly. I'm almost positive that it was Nelly. But speaking of children going, like an adult woman, like a 35, 40, 45-year-old woman was there with, we'll call it a 12-year-old son, something in that neighborhood, either direction. She wasn't wearing her age well, that's for sure. So it's just her and him.
Okay.
She wanted to go, it was definitely Nelly, now that I think about it. She definitely was like, I got to go to Nelly and I can't find a babysitter. So she just laid down a blanket in like the middle of the crowd and made her son just like sit on the blanket while she listened to Nelly. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
How are some people parents?
She looked like she had gotten those tickets, and all of a sudden it was just like the babysitter canceled, and she was like, "Oh, I can't miss Nelly. You got to go sit on the blanket, brother."
Hey, Mom, what's down, baby? No street in a Range Rover?
Like people just surrounding her. Like it's just a small blanket, like a beach blanket, just dead center of a giant crowd of people. Everybody wrecked. Like, it's not like sobriety. It's just like lawn seats, but her in the middle of it with everybody standing and this kid just sitting there. No
I don't know
technology.
if
It's not like
I'm,
he was playing a Wii or that was a bad example. A Switch. That's the word I'm looking
yeah,
for. Whatever. He's got it.
just sat and well, you had to listen. You don't have a choice at that point, but it was more of like, got to keep him in sight. Most parents shouldn't be parents. Great, Scott. You have never said anything more true than that.
Nelly got arrested the day after. I don't know if it was in North Carolina or in South Carolina, but wherever they were off to, they pulled over that tour bus and they got popped for guns and drugs. It was fun though. The four that
Azalea
I've gone
Fest
through:
2024. Let's take it to the top, baby.
N-
T-Pain, let me buy you a
Nelly,
drink.
Luda, Ice Cube, and then this will be T-Pain this year. Snoop did it one year. We missed that one, unfortunately,
Oh,
but
that would have been the
they've all been
best.
amazing, amazing shows.
I feel like Snoop would really, really just smash something like that. Like,
It could go
he's
either
fantastic
direction.
all
I
the
could also
time.
see him not really caring.
Yeah, I suppose. But here's the thing about Snoop Dogg is him not caring is still entertaining.
Sure, sure. The Nelly and the Luda ones were the best because they basically just treated it like a power hour. You got like a minute to 90 seconds of all of their best hits, so the crowds gets like really up for it. Ice Cube
Wow.
was awesome to me. Different vibe.
Wow. Not a rap, but I do love me some Dre and Snoop back in the 90s. Dude, that was it. For me, Ludacris would have been my favorite to see out of all of them because I think front to back, probably no more Luda than anything else. But that was also, again, it's like when you landed in high school. I was 03 to 06. I think that was kind of like all Luda years.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I'm peak Luda at that point in time.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man, the
the
good old
best.
times. Area codes, baby.
Area codes. Yeah,
Want to talk
let's just do
basketball?
that.
I think
Oh, what?
chat's
Oh,
probably irritated.
what do we? Oh, basketball. That's right. Okay, yeah, we could
Yeah.
probably do that.
Well, let's start here. Chris Williams, super chat. Just another show of thanks and grateful to find this team as it helped me become a better DFS player. Split first again in the DK $15 showdown last night and in the $1 showdown. So a nice 3K win. Big shout out to Stochastic. And then he dropped 5 gifted subs, as Chris normally does. Awesome to see. We couldn't be happier.
Dude's incredible. Dude's absolutely out of his mind.
We have a lot more to do. Can you take a guess as to what we're about to talk about?
Tears.
That would be correct. Ace of Spades, DK tiers options. We're on it. Here it comes. I'm pulling it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 1, Tatum, Durant, Halliburton, DeJounte Murray. Which way are you leaning?
I am leaning towards the Tatum side of things, but I'm probably more high on DeJounte Murray than it would appear we are.
I'm with you on Tatum. I think it just kind of has to be him in that first one now that Jaylen Brown is out.
Yep.
I do think Murray is close, but matchup for Boston looking real good right about now.
Back.
You just kind of need Tatum to play 30 plus minutes. They might not have to do that.
Yep.
Tier 2, Booker, Banchero, DeRozan, and Zion. I think this one's pretty easy.
Yep. Zion by a lot.
Yeah, Zion or running away with that one. That one is real difficult to get to something else. Cade Cunningham, Pascal Siakam, Jaren Jackson, Kristaps Porzingis, tier 3.
A little bit closer around the board here. If Cade plays, Cade, otherwise Pascal Siakam.
Let's see. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, if Cade is in, it will be Cade for me. And if it's not, it's Siakam. So I'm with you there. Tier 4, Vooch, M. Bridges via Charlotte, Ayton, Duran, McCollum, and White.
Vooch for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Look at us. Look at us. We kind of have the same idea going here with this.
Actually, I have it as a basic tie between Vooch and I'm very high today on Miles Bridges, who we'll get to in a bit.
You were high on him last week too. I think last week if you had played Friday, you
I'm
probably would have
on
banked
Miles Bridges
everything.
a lot.
Yeah, you
It's
would
a
have
lot.
banked everything on Friday. I'm pretty sure because I think you were pretty spot on with everything.
Tier 5, Kobe White, Mikal Bridges, Franz Wagner, Nick Claxton, Bradley Beal, Cam Thomas, Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Biggest gap I have, it's Cam Thomas.
It is also Cam Thomas for me. Mikal Bridges close, but it is Cam Thomas. And then finally, tier 6, Nurk, Turner, Drew, Brandon Miller, Schroeder, Murphy, Henderson, and Banton.
I hate that it's Scoot, but it's Scoot.
Yeah, There's so much minutes upside to Scoot. Like he could just play 30 because he can't keep himself out of foul trouble, but could play
Yeah.
upwards of 35 or 36 if that stays competitive. I think Brandon Miller is sort of like the inverse there, where it
Yeah.
might not be competitive enough for him to get his minutes. I think they look very similar, but I think Scoot is the leader in the clubhouse there.
Yep. It's unfortunate, but that's the answer.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this slate. We're going to go straight to the pay up options for today, and that is not really a thing. Jason Tatum, 10K on the DK slate. That is the most expensive player for today. No one else has a 5-figure price. We have 9,800 for Murray, 9,300 for Durant, 9,100 for Halliburton, and 9K for Devin Booker. But alas, I think we should just include $8,700 Zion in the mix. Who is your favorite pay up option for today?
Yeah, kind of went back and forth a little bit. I'm playing one lineup today. I'm playing a lot of baseball, which locks just afterwards. So that's awfully convenient. So good job, DraftKings, for that. But it's going to be Jason Tatum after some of the news here. 10K, no Jaylen Brown. We're going to see Jason Tatum, small forward, power forward. And if this is a blowout, you think he's one of the major reasons why. I was going through some numbers earlier. I mean, Derek White's had an unbelievable season. He's like #1 in net rating out of any player in the NBA right now over on NBA.com. And working through some of his dunks and three stuff is ridiculous. Like seeing him, Drew Holiday back. It's going to be a fun situation here. I'm a little bit surprised that Kristaps Porzingis is playing. Would have really liked this with Zinger on the sideline here, but apparently injury management wasn't going to be a thing for him. And I just don't see how you don't look at Tatum and raw points and the ability that we have to get to him here today. I like him at 16.5%. He's in my single entry.
It's a toss up there for me. I know the one guy I don't want to get to, and I know this might be controversial, but it's DeJounte Murray, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Just from an ownership perspective, not that he doesn't look good, because he clearly does, and the minutes are there. But Zion right now at 8,700 in this spot against Phoenix, he is looking... You don't normally see like no pay up options on a slate and then see someone like Zion pop, because nothing's really different for Zion. Like BI's been out for a couple games at this point in time. Everything should be relatively stable. Doesn't seem to matter on this slate. He is aggressively owned, and I see no reason why he shouldn't be. I think he's the #1 play on today's slate.
I don't completely hate that whatsoever. I think the two featured games on this slate, Atlanta, Chicago, because of the implications of the 10 seed. Chicago's at the 9 spot right now. Both those teams kind of jostling in the Eastern Conference standings there. And then obviously this Phoenix New Orleans one is massive. Phoenix at the 8 seed right here. New Orleans at the 6 seed. You want to be in those top 6. That is for sure. But New Orleans, they're 4th in adjusted net rating. And a lot of that is just Point Zion doing tons and tons of good things, distributing the basketball here of late. Kind of wild to see in the absence of BI. He continues to just ascend as a basketball player, laying off the gumbo, I suppose, too, which probably makes him and everybody else in New Orleans pretty happy. But 8,700 for him on DraftKings. There's no doubt that that is a price tag that really catches your attention. I guess for me, it's just simply like, what there's nothing like around where he's at that's like all that comparable, but there's ways that you can jostle with roster construction where, playing one lineup, I don't really have a problem getting away from a Zion. But yeah, if I were building out 50, 100, 150 today, there's no doubt that looking at 36% of him, 22.4% optimal percentage, I would have no problem being over that.
It's really interesting. And then you get guys at the pay up where it's like, all right, Kevin Durant's 9,300, 6-game slate. Probably not doing much with that. Devin Booker, 9K. I don't know. Probably not doing too much with that. These guys are 5% owned or less. It's a really odd slate for roster construction because it's pseudo balanced everywhere, because we're not running up into that like 12K Luka, 12K Jokic, 10 plus change Wemby. I kind of like it. It makes, usually in these situations, whatever lineup you create, you're like happy when you see it.
What do you like? You're happy with like just it's easy to build today? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like you end up getting to names that you feel more comfortable with.
Gotcha.
Like it's purely like cosmetic. But when you start looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, well if Zion is as popular as he is at 8,700, you're probably saving a lot of money because you're not in the 11. Like you have $3,000 extra dollars from not having a normal payout.
I gotcha. I guess for me, it's uncomfortable because you said Zion, and my practical approach looking at this slate right off the bat was like, all right, Grant Williams just showed up because no Nick Richards, and he's going to be 4,400 and probably the most popular play on the slate. Power forward center. Trendon Watford, power forward center. And This rotation for the Nets coming off of yesterday, again, 29 minutes for him, kind of the guy playing the most off the bench now, which is kind of a wild run out. Dennis Smith Jr. sent to the Shadow Realm, apparently. Trendon Watford at 3,600 power forward center. Zion is then your other power forward, but I like Jabari Walker at 4,400 as a piece to also include as savings. So that's three of my, it's forward, center, forward, and then utility that would be remaining there. And I think Zion's just kind of getting left on the side by omission there. I am with you where like there are some luxury items up here, guys that I just don't have a ton of interest in playing one lineup, like a Kevin Durant, where, you know, everybody is back there out of the main core guys for Phoenix. It is a spot that they need to win, but, you know, Devin Booker, just we see the assist rate 7% higher than that of KD with both of them in here. And that's just not going to be all that appealing to get to. Tyrese Halliburton, he's been just so frustrating. And then Booker has kind of the same problem where a lot of the upside is capped by the existence of a Durant, by the existence of a Beal. I think Booker's like the contrarian piece I'd want to get to, but I really like DeMar DeRozan up here at 8,500. So Chicago gets this pace up spot. We talked about Vooch a little bit there in tiers, and I think this is a spot where you start to see 40 plus minutes for a lot of the main guys. Like Atlanta's already been doing that. Chicago's already been doing that with like Io, Kobe White to a certain extent. They brought back in Alex Caruso into that starting unit. But like DeMar DeRozan, getting to face Atlanta is such a great pace up spot here for the Chicago team. Obviously, a poor defense on the other side. We've got him in for 36.5 minutes, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if this game, which is projected to be competitive, you saw DeMar DeRozan and all these Chicago starters ramped up to 40 plus. He's already played 38, 38, 37, 39. Again, if this is competitive, you just don't take DeMar DeRozan in like a, not a must win yet with 7-8 games left to play, but like at 8,500, he was the guy that I just couldn't live without just to get different in one lineup.
Two things. One, I'm going to provide you with a little bit of information that I think you will want. Atlanta actually slow now. They've been incredibly fast for the season, but since Trae Young has gone down, they've been ultra slow. I actually have them 23rd in pace now, which is a stark difference from them being a top 5 team earlier. So very different. Easy to miss that one because I run my own pace metric that is like rolling for the team. They stand out like they're 4 possessions off.
What do you have them in defensive rating over the last month?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. I have them 28th. So
that makes a lot of sense. Defense is going to be bad one way or the other.
Okay, there you go.
They've been shitty all year.
You can bring that one to me. I respect it. I love it. But then I do my adjusted net ratings and take some stuff from dunks and threes, try to combine it with like actual net rating, and then do some other just hibbity-jibbity because it's fun. I just like looking at basketball numbers. And I have Atlanta as the 3rd worst defense over the last month, 4th worst defense on the season.
Dunks and threes has Atlanta at 100.5 possessions for pace.
Yeah, 7th.
I have it at 90. I have it 96.9 lately because of how stark that has been. Interesting matchup too. Chicago is 83% to be the 9 seed, 16 to be the 10 seed. Atlanta is 16 to be the 9 seed, 83% to be the 10 seed. These two teams are playing to find out which one of them hosts the 9-10 game in the East. So interesting.
That matters. That matters. 83.4%. Again, for Chicago, 83.8 there for Atlanta to be the 10 seed. But I mean, that has flip-flop ability. It'd be like probably 65-35 if you end up getting an Atlanta win. Chicago would be pretty convincingly way up there. I mean, they have almost no chance of getting the 8 seed from my understanding. They're less than 1% in just about every probability metric, where it's like 0.7 on dunks and threes. It's like 0.9 somewhere else. I'm looking at, or is it at here? I had it earlier when I was looking at the betting stuff. The New Orleans one I thought was pretty fascinating too, because New Orleans 72% chance to get the 4 seed, and then Phoenix really trying to get themselves out of the play-in game, but they have less than a 11% chance of actually doing so. But this win would be a huge key on the way. Plus, there's a chance, pending how things run out, they do have the most difficult strength of schedule the rest of the way. They have 2 matchups against New Orleans, 2 matchups against Minnesota, a literal back-to-back against the Clippers. But, like, pending where they land, Minnesota, you know, it's pretty flat whether they're the 1, 2, or 3. I just think this is something we'll be talking a lot about the next 2 weeks, so I kind of wanted to be prepared for it. Like, there are implications for some of these games where you could see the minutes ramped up, or you could see surprising scratches from certain teams as we get closer to that Sunday where everybody is playing basketball and it's the wildest NBA slate of the year. But for today, I do think Chicago, Atlanta, there's a little bit of a bump that I'm giving to these main guys. It's a competitive game environment already, but I think that's a great tidbit that you brought in with the Atlanta side of things being slower in the Trae Young or the post Trae Young era.
We have now reached the time of this show where we must find out who is the exotic play of the day. Jordan, hit it. This will never get old.
I know.
Ever. Ever.
I'm the eternal heel of Stochastic. It's the eternal, unequivocal, never-ending heel.
I could watch Jokic shoot that three every day for the rest of my life and be very happy about it.
Chet didn't even actually do anything in his highlight. It was like a corner three. Just normal corner three.
He is not on this slate today. So who is your exotic play of the day?
Oh my God. So I mean, I just talked about this game environment and talked about, the fact that I could see an upside for minutes. One guy that I think the field's been a little bit uncomfortable to roster over the course of this season has been Alex Caruso. And I just think, again, Atlanta, you said maybe not a pace up, but defensively just bringing nothing to the table. He's the highest owned piece from this game, but I think rightfully so. 5,800 shooting guard, small forward here. He was kind of a click and set it and forget it guy for my single entry. We have him at 31 minutes. Again, I just have higher minutes projections on these main guys. Alex Caruso last time out played 35 minutes in a starting spot. They're starting him over Torrey Craig now. They are going to that smaller lineup configuration with Io, Kobe White, and him. 1, 2, 3. Alex Caruso, just so defensively versatile, just one of the best on-ball defenders in the entire NBA. I think there is a lot of minutes upside when you talk about DeJounte Murray and Bogdanovich and these other guys that he's just got so much utility to just stay on the floor. So you run into 35 minutes at 0.9 fantasy points per minute in a spot where defensively Atlanta isn't bringing a lot. We've got him at a 0.92 fantasy rate. I agree with that one, but at 34.5 minutes that I put him in for today, Alex Caruso, your exotic play of the night. There you go.
I'm going to go a different direction. Not that I don't like going to Alex Baker. He's a fantastic basketball player and fantastic DFS player as well.
So good.
We've got a great matchup, I believe, for this gentleman. Not a lot of size left on the Charlotte Hornets. So Tingus Pingus, you're the white of the night.
My God.
Got to go to
what did you just... No, we don't say that. No.
We don't. Okay, Kristaps Porzingis. Is that better?
There you go. No, you said white of the night. Derek White is the white of the night.
Not even the white on his own team today. As far as I
have one question, something that's been driving me nuts. Why is Misic unowned today?
I have him ranked 63rd on this list.
Oh shit. Okay, there you go.
The problem I think has to do with facing Boston.
That is fair. Okay. I guess that's fair enough for me. I just keep looking at his potential assists over the last last 2 games. Like they are just playing ball handling duty nonstop here for Misic. 19.5% potential assists over the last 2, 20 and 18 respectively. Like the guy's just playing nonstop minutes now, 34 minutes over the last 2. Again, I don't like the smaller sample size, but it's kind of like just a change in environment. He's just kind of ratcheted up those minutes. And I mean, they have nothing to lose. Even when they're down 15, 20, I don't think Misic comes off a floor. He's played 34, 33, 35 minutes the last few. I just think there's like such strong... Maybe I'll just bet him to double-double. That's probably what I do.
There you go. A little life hedge for you. If you can't get him in DFS, get him on the sports books, or maybe you can get them at Underdog Fantasy, the sponsor of today's show. Click the link in chat or the one in the description. First match deposit bonus up to $100. And they've got everything. This is a one-stop shop for you if you want it. Pick'em contest. If you are in a non-legal betting state, all those words were really hard to say together. They've got daily fantasy contests, large field GPPs. It is the place to go for best ball if you're interested in that, whether that's NBA, which I assume there's going to be some playoff contests coming up soon. You could already be starting to get weird with NFL best ball. I don't mess with the NFL best ball streets, but if you do, you probably do it at Underdog. Got to be 18 or over, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. Are you concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So now we keep it moving. I got a super chat. I might have two of them. Nope, I only have one. Deuce Trey said FanDuel plays position by position for cash. That should be pretty easy for us.
Yep.
There's an easy one right out of the gate at power forward. That's going to be Jabari Walker.
Well, I think there's three of them at power forward. I think Grant Williams, Trendon Wofford, and Jabari Walker. You're probably playing all of them.
Well, we also have a fourth potentially in Zion. So it's cheap,
Yep.
cheap, and Zion, which is a tricky spot. We have Walker with the most projected ownership. Seems to me that he slips in first. What you do with Grant Williams, Zion Williamson, and Trendon Watford then becomes the trickier piece, I think.
Yep, agreed.
You're definitely using Luke Kennard at either
Yep.
point guard or shooting guard. No way around that one. Seems like you're using Alex Caruso in the same situation. Miles Bridges at small forward. Probably DeMar DeRozan at small forward. Do you see anybody else that you want to touch on for FanDuel?
I pull it up here.
Center is where it gets really hard.
Yeah, it is really gross here. I mean, I'd be inclined. I mean, probably Duren, but like,
Yeah.
it feels weird to play Jalen Duren in cash. I guess, I mean, it's a 2-point spread for these guys. And I mean, yeah, Kennard on FanDuel is a lock. Jabari Walker, lock. Zion, probably a lock here. So those, I guess, it would be the two power forwards. Miles Bridges slides over. Let's go Derek White as well. Just he's pulling a lot of ownership, and it's one of those things where 7,600 for him in this spot. I think being able to utilize him at shooting guard and go Cade Cunningham if he's in, and Kobe White would be somebody I'd be considering too at 7K. The minutes upside is just ridiculous there. McCollum's up to 8,400 over there. So we threw out some good options there. Alex Caruso also just talked about all of his defensive ups. He's going to be doing 34.5 minutes here. I would definitely be playing Alex Caruso in cash over on FanDuel at 6K.
Who do you want to play on DraftKings today as your favorite GPP plays? Who's not getting as much love maybe as you think that they should be? Who are some of your top large field contest options?
Yeah, so Tatum's not pulling a ton of ownership at the moment, which is a little bit surprising to me. I just refreshed again. We've got him at 16.3%. I guess the optimal percentage of 15.7% is there, but if this game blows out, a lot of it is probably Jason Tatum going ballistic. We're going to see him absent Jaylen Brown. There's a ton of upside against Charlotte anytime that you touch the floor there. So I definitely like him. I think Cade Cunningham, considering he's had the Q tag next to him all day, I think if he's good to go, awesome. Otherwise,
by the way, Cade is in. Cade is in. Sasser is out.
Okay, that just came across. When did I miss that?
More or less.
Or I just wasn't. More or less.
It was like 3 or 4 minutes ago. I didn't cut you off before to say it, and then I forgot to say it.
Perfect. Appreciate you. Cade Cunningham, we'll see if the ownership ends up getting up there in the next 27 minutes. It's a little bit early. I was just kind of hoping it would be as late as humanly possible because I have him in that lineup here as it stands right now. And then I'm with you. Miles Bridges, 7,600. The minutes are just outrageous. And if I'm going to play Tatum, and I'm just hoping this game obviously stays competitive, I'd be looking on FanDuel like a Derek White here as well. I think Miles Bridges is just somebody that 43 minutes against the Clippers, 41 minutes against Cleveland. I mean, Boston is, they're their own beast, but like, you're just getting such crazy minutes upside here. So if it goes well for Tatum, I'll take my chances. It probably went okay for Miles Bridges at 7,600.
So I got one or two dudes that I've got my eye on for today that aren't pulling a ton of love. I like Miles Turner a lot. He's a guy that I liked a ton this morning. Not pulling a ton of ownership. We have him at 9% right now, 6,400. I like the spot for him. Center seems to be pretty wild. You don't have any of the normal pay up options. There's no Jokic. There's no Domantas Sabonis. There's no Wemby around here. So I like the idea of going to someone like Turner who could put up a bit of a block party if things break correctly. Bridges and Claxton both projected for less than 10% ownership. Guys that I have north of 20% of. Claxton in particular on the opposite side of Turner. I just feel like one of those dudes has a great game. I don't really care which one it is because neither one of them is pulling as much love as I sort of expected them to. I was hoping I kind of think Jaden Ivey is sneaky in this matchup against Memphis, especially now with Cade in. Like, no one's going to talk about him all that much. He's going to be out there just as much as anybody else, 6,100. You're talking about needing like 38 fantasy points out of somebody at that price today. More than happy to get there. And I think it's more interesting because Cade is in.
I would agree with that, because otherwise everybody would just be running to, I mean, it's north of a 30% usage. I'll pull back up my stuff here. 30% usage it was with Cade Cunningham off the floor. It would have been really, really fun. But Cade Cunningham on, Jaden Ivey on this season. Cade's at 1.22 DraftKings points per minute. And then you've got a pretty noticeable difference here between what he would have had absent of him. He's at 0.85 in a nearly 1,200 minute sample size. But
yeah,
again, this is a competitive spot. So you could be looking at an increase in minutes, a minute or two compared to like what you would normally project him for in all these double-digit dog games that he's running into on a day-to-day basis. He's also had a pretty terrible effective field goal percentage with Cade Cunningham on the floor. Generally, Cade might help you open it up, but at 47.9% effective field goal percentage, there's definitely room for that to grow and improve. Jaden Ivey's just, he's not a great shooter, 53.8% true shooting, 49.2% on the season. But again, kind of strange to see it being a little bit lower with Cade Cunningham. Might just be, one of those things where, he's not as, again, it's just a small sample size kind of a deal where, 2 years of them being together, I guess we can kind of bake it in. But Jaden Ivey is definitely somebody that I have no question that when he is out on a floor, you'll still see a 25% usage, even alongside of Cade Cunningham in spots like this. And again, the minutes, he's averaging 28.5 on the season. Like, you're going to project him for a lot more than 28.5 in a competitive game.
And if I didn't say it before, Kobe White, another guy on the list for me that isn't pulling as much ownership as I think probably should be in a spot here against Atlanta. Do you have any other GPP plays that you have your eye on, or did you kind of hit on everybody that you were looking to hit on?
Oh, God. I have a lot of guys. I mean, it's just a question of like, who's going to fit it in for one lineup for me. This is not something I typically do, but with MLB, the contests are so good today that it just made more sense to pay attention to that. And then NBA, I'll build out one lineup, enjoy it, continue to, do the bets, do the things that I want to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And I'll be set with it. But considering there's really no late swap to be had, no late swap advantages that really feel like they're going to be pronounced unless something really surprising happens with Atlanta, Chicago, Phoenix, New Orleans. A lot of like my main edge is reduced. I would say though, if there's one guy that I want to get a little bit different with, why not just take shots on like a Ryan Rupert or like some of these other ancillary Portland pieces? It is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad spot against the second best defense in the NBA, the Orlando Magic, second in adjusted defensive rating, which is so wild this year. But I like Walker, I like Banton, I like Rupert, I like Scoot Henderson for tournaments too. 6,600. Everybody's going to be getting to Banton because Banton's done it lately. But Scoot Henderson's in that one lineup that I built out. And, it's like him, Caruso, a couple of like just contrarian pieces from within their own team. I guess Caruso's now the most popular player on the Bulls. He wasn't earlier. But Scoot Henderson is somebody where if this game is competitive or if he can learn to shoot for a day or two. We saw 41 minutes against Miami. Not exactly your best spot, but 8 for 18 from the floor, 1 for 5 from 3. He can get there in terms of stocks. He's just going to be a good defender in the NBA. He needs to find out the rest of it, but Portland's going to give him every opportunity to do so. So with Banton pulling as much ownership as he is, 15.6%, give me Scoot, who's down at 10, and I could see being way lower than that for $100 more.
I like that shout, man. He's a guy that I'm definitely over on. I probably have him ranked higher relative to his ownership than a couple guys here. Like, I didn't get to him yet. I drew my line at Ivy, but Scoot would have been the next guy that I said in terms of GPP plays. There's so much upside. If that game goes well, he might play 35 or 36 minutes tonight, and at which point you're feeling fantastic with getting to him. Doesn't have to work, but the upside is certainly there. You know what time it is?
Oh, it's time to blow my dick off.
It is time to blow that thing off. We're probably not going to need a nuke for that. You could probably do that with one of those little pop or the snaps. That would probably be able to cover it. But this is time for the nuke of the night. By the way, snaps were the coolest thing in the world.
Shout out snaps. Shout them out.
Tiny little what look like drug bags, but if you fire them at people, crack, crack, The best. The best. Who's the nuke of the night?
I hate that this is the nuke of the night. I really, 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 really hate it coming off a back-to-back. I think he was the nuke of the night, made me look like an idiot the other night again. Cam Thomas is super popular. I love him, but I've loved him a lot in a lot of spots where people haven't necessarily gone to him. I think I've extracted just about everything I possibly could out of it when people have now seen 45, 40, 35 minutes in a lot of these spots, eternal usage. But eventually, one day, Mikal Bridges is going to come through and there will be repentance from all who do not play him. I'm hoping that's tonight in the one lineup here. 47, 38, 38 minutes. They're trying to claw for a 10 seed for whatever reason. And it is the best or one of the top three matchups, Washington, you could argue here as well. Indy brings the pace. It is going to be an opportunity for him with shooting guard, small forward to fit into lineups pretty easily. And he's pulling absolutely no ownership. We have a ton of value that's shown up with Wofford and Grant Williams and all these other gentlemen. But Mikal Bridges, shooting guard, small forward, fits in easily alongside those guys by being able to play him in that shooting guard spot or elsewhere. He's fantasy point per minute guy. He gets the pace up, and eventually, we're going to see him take over a game. He's only had 14.8, 18.8, 19.1% usage. But if it gets going soon or later, you're going to want him for $100 less than a super chalky Cam Thomas, your nuke of the night, Mikal Bridges.
I'm going to create a bit of a theme here for the nuke of the night. But it's not Mikal Bridges. It's Miles Bridges.
Love it.
7,600. Obviously a very difficult spot taken on the Boston Celtics. But I think there's one little piece of saving grace here. I hope that it helps us out. We don't have Nick Richards today. They're starting Grant Williams at the 5. That is a full stop 5-out environment for Charlotte. I'm hoping that the spacing involved will be incredibly beneficial offensively for Charlotte. It might not matter considering they're going up against the league's best defense. Moving Al Horford into the starting lineup is still really difficult for everybody. So 5-out might not matter at all for Charlotte today. But in terms of scoring, they should be significantly better with Grant Williams at the 5 than they should be with Nick Richards at the 5. I'm going to bet on that spacing for Charlotte. The nuke of the night is Miles Bridges.
Well, I'm looking at Bridges and Bridges in my lineup now, so that makes me excited. Or actually, that makes me terrified because somebody did just call Mikal Bridges the new Paul Millsap, and the fact that that may be accurate scares the shit out of me.
Okay, so we hit our nukes of the night.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to hit on the dinger. It is the promo code right now for our MLB DFS packages. If you would like to get 30% off anything you want on the MLB side, whether that's weekly or monthly, lineup generator, just data, Sims Max, you get projections, ownership, top stacks, top pitchers, top batters, premium Discord, and more. The promo code DINGER, you get 30% off your first payment. This ends Wednesday. If you're trying to play any MLB DFS and you want to get behind the paywall at Stochastic, this is the promo code for you. Use it to sign up. Link in chat. Link in the description. Whatever's easier for you guys. Worst case scenario, type that bad boy in. DINGER. The promo code is DINGER. Get 30% off your first week or month of MLB DFS at Stochastic.com. Now we talk fades. We've got some guys pulling heavy ownership. Grant Williams, Trendon Watford, Cam Thomas is in the 30s, Zion Williamson in the 30s, Jabari Walker knocking on that door. Even if you want to go a little bit further down, who don't you like today?
There are a number of guys. So I just added a couple of lineups right before that $4 filled. I didn't see that. I thought it had already filled for whatever reason, but I was like, I like enough other things, and we've talked through enough things that I think are pretty enjoyable that I want to get to them. I'm not getting to my guy, Jalen Duren, and I hate it. 7,200. I think just these power forward values that you can also play at center, Williams, Watford, Walker, just feel infinitely better getting some value there and paying up at some of these other positions. So a lot of these centers getting undercut. Him, Capella, which also pisses me off a little bit. We'll be playing a little bit of Drummond at 4,600 just in the event something happens to Vooch. And I always feel like at $4,600, Drummond has utility in these kind of spots because he's a 1.35 DraftKings points per minute guy. But Other guy that I'm really undercutting, I just built out my first 150 set, and CJ McCollum is pulling a ton of ownership at 28.5%. He's been awesome. And obviously, since BI's gone out, he's taken over a lot more of the offense, but he's up to 7,700. This is now a Phoenix spot where, yeah, he's going to get the minutes, but we've seen him run pretty well in some of these spots here as well. It is a 1-point spread. It should be competitive. He's going to be really popular, though, and he's had 28, 29, 30% usage here of late. Shot the ball decently well, but again, there's going to be one of these times where Trey Murphy just kind of gets back to doing Trey Murphy things, gets on the floor, and eats up a lot more of the usage. We'll have Zion constantly doing it, but if you've looked at Trey Murphy lately, it's been very off-putting to me. 39 minutes a night, but hasn't exceeded 17% usage in a single game of the last 3. I think Trey Murphy is popular and probably pretty warranted with the shooting guard small forward, but I think that's just kind of getting me away from CJ McCollum. I have a lot of Zion in this first 150 run, as I was kind of expecting it to be. But I'm more inclined to be short on CJ McCollum, currently in 12% of my first 150.
So this is where I get to being a little lighter on DeJounte Murray today, who isn't pulling nearly as much ownership as he was earlier today. That seems to have changed up a little bit, but he's a guy where I took his under pretty early today in my prize picks video. It immediately cratered multiple. I think it dropped 2, which was a pretty stark difference. I think Jalen Johnson being back.
Picks.
What'd you say?
I said that doesn't happen a lot on prize picks. That's a good grab.
Only for my plays.
Oh, fuck off. I'm doing pretty well. Get off, get off my...
You. I'm not. I had a terrible March.
I had an unsustainable March. Feels nice. Jordan Klein's enjoying this. Hey, nice hat. I enjoy this one a little bit more than your one from Friday.
I'm just not a fan of Murray now today with the price juiced now that Jalen Johnson's back. I think that's a really big problem for him. I think that you're getting he's probably like overpriced by a couple $100 because of Johnson being back now. And I think that's going to matter in a big way for this one, especially because I think this matchup for Jalen Johnson is awesome. Whatever they're running out there when Jalen Johnson is on the floor is not slowing him down. It's certainly not DeMar DeRozan or whatever they're like, whatever sort of alignment they're trying to do. I think Jalen Johnson's in for a really nice night. So if you want to flip that for Jalen Johnson, go for it. But I actually think it just hurts DeJounte Murray a lot.
I don't hate it. We've seen 2 times where he had 9 days off. Jalen Johnson did. Came back and played 37 minutes against Toronto. And then, he was healthy until the Cleveland game, had 9 days off, and then played 34 minutes there in that spot. So yeah, Jalen Johnson's probably walking into a larger role than most might be anticipating. 32 minutes is what we have him in for. He is the guy that I'm kind of okay keeping it there. I've kind of nuked up a little bit of Bogdanovich, nuked up a little bit of DeJounte Murray, just because I do think, 40 minutes for Murray, 37 for Bogdan isn't exactly an outlier. I think that's just a competitive game here where you see the coaches want to utilize these guys a little bit more in a game that really, really matters. A lot of these are going to really matter coming down to the end of the season, but I guess I kind of see where you're coming at with that. Murray is somebody that I took the more on his 46.5. He closed at 49.5 over on prize picks. So that felt pretty good for fantasy score purposes, but it is different when you're talking fantasy score, getting those kind of bumps. And Murray is somebody that, yeah, I might on DraftKings 9,800. We're seeing Bogdanovich not exactly do nothing in terms of those potential assists. We saw 10, or no, it was 10 boards the other game. That's what it was. 5, 5, 4. Bogdanovich, pretty decent potential assists, 8.5, 9 over the course of, depending on what sample size you want to look at. But DeJounte Murray, no doubt, he's going to get handcuffed a little bit by Jalen Johnson's presence.
Do you have any other fades, or do you have anybody else that you don't have your eye on right now? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, again, I'm kind of looking at this. Nothing like a last second, hey, I'll just jam a couple more in here. This always goes well, right?
Oh, yeah, that's always the best thing you could possibly do. It never fails.
What am I doing? I mean, I was like, I built it out. I might as well utilize it here quick and, whatever. I'll be able to get all the baseball stuff in that I need to. I have like virtually 0 Clint Capella. That'll be enjoyable. I have virtually 0 Delano Banton. That was the guy that I was anticipating getting undercut. I'm glad it kind of happened organically. For me, I'm just playing Scoot. I'm going to play Scoot. I just kind of like getting to scoot at 6,600 a little bit more. Nobody else is going to feel that way, and that's kind of the point. So I think that's going to be the way that it works out. But CJ McCollum is definitely the scary big fade that I have here on this slate.
Okay.
Delano Banton, I mean, he's still a fantasy point per minute guy, and for me, I'm just hoping Orlando can do what Orlando does, and that'll make me feel a little bit better. But Clint Capella having virtually zero of him, that's a little bit freaky too.
Well, we've got about 10 minutes to go until we get to lock. Don't forget, we're going to be on playback exclusively at 7 p.m. Go to Stochastic. Nope. Don't go to playback.tv/stochastic if you want to come and watch games, sweat games. We're going to have League Pass on, so you guys can watch games along with us if you have League Pass, or if you get one of our 40 VIP passes. We're going to talk any news that pops up between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, any bets that we may have. It's a fun vibe. I think you guys should come and hang out with us. So make sure you're going to stochastic.tv/payback. Yeah, playback. Horrible read. That's okay, because we have something else to do. It is time to find out who is going to take a steaming hot dump in the middle of your bed. Who is the Amber Heard play of the day?
Mikal Bridges. I mean, there's no way that I'm actually doing this, right? Like, this is moronic. I hate this guy. He's trying to kill me. I just have faith that eventually we're going to run into a spot where Cam Thomas doesn't have 30+% usage playing nonstop against playing alongside Mikal Bridges, but it seems to happen ad nauseum. It makes me just, I mean, it is what it is. I've been playing a ton of Cam Thomas, so I'm not exactly mad about it. And this is really the first slate we've ran into where the ownership has caught up to where it should be. And obviously the matchup is surely helping that for sure. It's not like he was going to go under the radar here in this spot. Somebody that I know that is going to take a steaming pile the other way on me, probably going to be CJ McCollum. So CJ McCollum, God, I wish I could be getting to him here, but it would just appear point guard 7,700 pulling the tons of ownership that he is. I like getting Decade. He's popping in the Sims tool quite a bit for me here at the moment. I like getting to TJ McConnell, who we didn't even talk about. I think that's a decent source of value on the other side of this one. And we have enough value with Watford and Williams to allow you to do whatever else you want. Me paying up for Tatum. I'm getting a little bit of Murray, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be under now after we talk through that. Going to probably kill me now with CJ McCollum. Just going to nuke it and put up 60.
Deuce Trey hit us again with a super chat. Best center play for FanDuel cash. I think we're going Duran, correct?
Yeah, I hate it, but that's the answer.
And Malcolm hit us with the super chat. He said, who to spend up if you're playing one lineup on DraftKings? We don't have a ton of options. I think the only two real choices that you feel good about are Jason Tatum and Zion.
Those are the two.
Okay. Got about 7 minutes left to go, which means we're opening it up. If you have questions, drop them into chat. Either way, whether you're in our premium Discord or you're in YouTube, we have time to talk it out with you guys for whatever you want to know. I do want to point out to Van Dam in chat, Goga is not starting. Please stop relying on FanDuel and DraftKings to give you information. They are bad at it.
Yes.
He's absolutely not starting.
Yes. Hate, Josh. I fucking scream from the rooftops whenever people just look at the green check marks. I hate the green check marks. They need to go away.
They don't care if you get reliable information. Doesn't matter at all. They're going to take your money one way or the other.
Sure
are. Malcolm, we already did DK tiers. Top of the show. Gonna have to go back for that one.
Yeah.
That was already too much DK tiers time.
Ace of Spades, we love you. We love you.
Ooh, Cam Thomas or CJ? That's tough.
Cam Thomas for me.
It's Cam Thomas for me. I got him by a point relative to salary. That is a marginal question. And remember, guys, if you're asking 1v1s, I asked that one because they were kind of close to each other and we've talked about them a lot. If you want 1v1s or 2v2s, head to stochastic.com, use the player compare tool. It is free. You put the names in, it shows you projections and ownership and salary and optimal rate and boom and bust, everything you could possibly want. You're going to get a lot more out of that by just running over to the player compare tool if you have it. What else do we have coming in? Zach hit us with a member message. Best GPP play under 4K.
GPP play under
pretty
4K.
Bleak range, isn't it? Oh, there's only
Watford.
There's only one option.
Yeah.
It's Trendon Watford. No one else is even comparable.
Yeah. I mean, at 4K, there's Brandon Clark, but I'm not going to play Brandon Clark anymore.
I am a big not fan of Brandon Clark today. I talked about that a
Okay.
little bit on the strategy show this morning. He's not going to play more minutes, and he's going to
No.
be a guy that is going to look better in any regular data than he does in real life because there's no right tail for him. There's no chance he's playing like 27 minutes today. They're not doing any of that. Games are dead for Memphis. None of it matters. He only plays 20 minutes a night normally. He's averaged 20 minutes in the past 2 seasons. That's going to be where they hold him in general. They're not stretching him out coming off of an Achilles tear, first games back in games that mean nothing. Only thing that matters to them is seeing that Brandon Clark can play basketball and making sure he's healthy next October.
It's like the poorest of the poor man's Victor Wembanyama with no right tail.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan Rupert would be another sub 4K guy if you want to get to it, but yeah, he is not comparable to Trendon Watford.
Yep, I'm playing 2 of 15, Ryan Rupert, go me.
I think that my AirPods are dying, and I don't mean like the battery is low. I think they're like at the end of their useful life because you are a robot in my ears. It's like blah, 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 blah.
Some would argue that that is the way that I sound to everybody all the time.
It's not ideal. You don't sound like that normally. If you did, I would be significantly less likely to do this show with you.
A guy on a show today, or on my Lindy's video from last night, called me a squirrel, and my wife thinks it's the funniest thing ever. I don't understand the comp. He goes, dude, this guy is such a squirrel. That was the comment.
You like nuts in your mouth?
Why'd you take it there?
I mean, I figure that's what he meant, right?
Yeah. My wife, the entire drive back from Scottsdale, you fucking squirrel. You squirrel. I'm like, what? This is dumb because she will once in a while just pull up my videos to read the comments because she thinks they're funny. Not to hit the like button, not to say she loves me or is proud of me, but instead to make fun of me and send screenshots of what people call me to her parents because they think it's funny. That's my life.
Well, everybody was in on the joke except for you because we all know what it means. Isn't that right, squirrel? Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I'll be honest with you. And I know this is going to sound like a real dumb statement. And I don't mean like I get it confused on the regular. But as far as I'm concerned, chipmunks and squirrels are the same animal.
Yeah, I've never differentiated the two in my life. And I'm like from South Dakota, land of the squirrel. Like, I don't know. They're everywhere. But isn't a chipmunk just smaller?
Shit, right?
Yeah, they both just hoard nuts or dig into your golf bag like little peasants.
Yeah, they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're the same animal. If anybody has the true differences between a squirrel and a chipmunk, because I don't see it.
Squirrels
if I see them, I know which one's which. Squirrel Quest is good.
Squirrel Quest? I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where she just could not let it go. There's like one comment every couple months or so, and she just runs with it. So that was this month's. I have a very healthy relationship, everybody.
Can you talk again?
Sure.
Ooh, hello. I took my AirPods out, put them back in. You're no longer a robot.
Fixed. Look at that. It's like blowing on the cartridges back in the day. Just shake them off.
Still a squirrel, though. Still a squirrel.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
We didn't get any questions in premium Discord, so I'm taking a peek. I think I probably ruined it with the squirrel joke. Alan Wiley hit us with the super chat. Eric, thanks for the shark play. I got 10th in $3 golf. What was the shark play?
It's beautiful. Tony Finau.
Scotty blow it? Did I see that correctly? I wasn't paying attention.
Is this another nut joke or no? Yeah, Scotty missed like a 4-footer to get in the playoff.
Oh, okay. I knew that he was like smashing, and then I guess choked that away.
Yep, Steven Yeager ended up being the guy. I had a decent week. I mean, we were pretty on it. Jesse and myself. I think we'll see what old Jesse's up to. I'm sure he's playing NBA and MLB and doing all the things, but I know next week the Masters. We'll probably be running that one back for sure. It was a lot of fun. We were there for 2 hours talking golf. So if you appreciate it and you enjoyed it, we had 150 people there pretty much the entire time. I'd be happy to run that back. Again, we were there till what, it was like 11 p.m. out here or 10 p.m. So yeah, like midnight Eastern. That'd be a really fun Masters stream next week.
Speaking of that, so that's what do we have this week?
San Antonio, Valero, Texas Open.
Okay, and then so Masters next week. That'll be.
Yep.
I'm excited for that. Masters
Yep.
is always a great time.
It is the best, dude. It's the absolute best. But now they've ruined it. Like to a certain extent, they have fewer holes and like fewer coverages than they had last year, which we want more. Like we need more. I don't understand why they're getting rid of like 2, 3, 4 and some of the webcam stuff that they've had for that. It's been awesome. The coverage is the best all year. And it's like, why are we reducing coverage at the Masters?
I thought you were saying like Augusta did something to like they're letting in squirrels or something.
But they let me in 2 years ago. I got to go watch. It's whatever. I love your stuff, but that was a little rough last week. What are you talking about? What do you mean it was a little rough? We were fantastic.
That's a pun, man.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Final question. We're at the top of the hour. If you played Augusta, what would you shoot? What would be your goal? I guess is probably a better question. Because obviously there's a range.
Shit, I played so good on Saturday, so now I'm feeling extra cocky. I hit the ball really, really good. For me, it always comes down to putting because I'm always going to hit the ball pretty damn good relative to like most everybody. I think the over-under in Masters conditions would be 77.5. And I think the over-under just playing it recreationally, middle of the greens would be like 74.5.
You're
I
trying
played
to
Division
tell
One
me.
golf, Josh.
Yeah, that's not the PGA Tour, man.
I know it isn't, but
you think you shoot 77? Your goal would be to break 77 in Masters conditions.
Yes.
77.5. In your mind, that's
77
attainable?
or lower.
That's crazy. I don't mean you're crazy. That's just crazy to think about.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's a golf course that, for me, is set up perfectly because I hit it really, really far. And I like fast greens. Like, those are the two things that I generally do pretty well. And it is so forgiving off the tee relative to what people think. And having, like, seen it there, I had my buddy Stuart Hagestad. One of my old teammates had his dad play in the Masters in, what was it? But he was also the coach of the Walker Cup team. So when they do U.S. versus Great Britain and Ireland, Mike McCoy, he played in the Masters. Yeah, it would have been a little bit ago when he won U.S. Mid-Am. But having seen some of their scores, 77.5 in like a traditional Thursday setup. Sunday setup as hard as possible. If I broke 80, I'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah, that's I mean, those Sunday pins are going to be tricky. But no, I expected a couple strokes higher than that just because, but I don't know. This is not the spot where I'm going to be like, no, you're out of your mind. He's not like, I understand, like you are an actual golfer. That's not I wasn't setting you up for it. I was just legitimately
totally get it.
Where you landed there.
Yeah, that's kind of where I, in my head, would set it. Again, maybe a little aggressive, but like you got to be confident.
That's what goals are for, man.
Yep.
All right. NBA Live Before Lock on YouTube. Done. Shout out to Underdog. Sign up with Dinger. We're out of here. We're heading to Playback. Playback.tv/Stokastic. Good luck, everybody. We'll talk to you later.